You guys know what time it is? No, it's not that. But it is Monster Mashup time. Alright, what are we gonna get today? So this is Monster Mashup, Monster Animal Mashup number 5. Alright, let's go, let's do this. What are we gonna get today? Oh, I got 2 here, I'll drop one. Oh, we have a bear. I have never drawn a bear before. Cool. Second bag. What animal are we going to mush with a bear? What are we gonna? Oh, okay. Obviously that one just come out, so we'll go with that. A grasshopper and a bear? Oh, wow. We've got a mammal and an insect. So what mythical element is this thing gonna have? A werewolf element. Oh, this now I want the monster element for this. Let's see what we get. Yes, got the monster element again. Alrighty people, so we have a bear crossed with a grasshopper with a werewolf element, and we're gonna make it a monster. So wow, like honestly, this was probably gonna be the hardest one I reckon I've ever done. Like that is just 2 things I would never in a million years put together. So yeah, I feel as though this one's going to have a lot going on with the werewolf element and then a monster element. So let's go and get designing this. This monster mashup was a little trickier than I will admit. It was very tricky, and instead of doing a lot of thumbnails for this design, I ended up just going straight in and drawing one thing and then just going on top of that and just modifying it as I went, because I'm getting very confused with doing it the other way, and I really just don't want to do it that way anymore because I just don't want to. And yeah, it was just, I honestly had no idea how the hell I was going to, mash up a bear with a grasshopper and a werewolf. But when I started doing some research on the bear and the werewolf, they look very similar. They have very similar features. And I wouldn't say they look similar, but they have similar features. And that sort of made it quite easy to sort of then mash the werewolf and the bear together. So I actually started from doing that. I started with the bear and the werewolf and put those 2 together. So I did a bear body. So how I actually planned this out was I started with the bear body, and from there I then started planning out where I was going to put certain body parts for the bear and the werewolf and the grasshopper. And straight up I knew I wanted to do grasshopper legs. I just had that was the first thing that popped into my head. So I definitely wanted to do the grasshopper legs to give this monster a very very bouncy sort of appearance, so you know he's coming for you, because he's gonna, and you can't get away from him, because he's just gonna be bouncing around, just, you know, doing that whole hop thing, and you just wouldn't be able to get away from him. So what I did with the face was I kept the size of the head the same as a bear, and I just sort of pulled that snout out a little bit, and it's probably the same length as a bear anyway, but I sort of wanted to give that snout the same look as a werewolf. So I've got the werewolf teeth as well, and I've got the eyes sort of very evil, like probably like a werewolf would be. And what I wanted to do as well was put the ears, like I didn't plan on this happening, because I sort of didn't know how I was going to do the ears, but I ended up drawing one of the ears a little bit too sort of long, and then liked it, because I thought, well, that looks like a werewolf, because if you do see some pictures of werewolves, they do have very long ears, like they're very stretched up, and the hairs go all the way up, and yeah, just Google one, you'll know what I mean. Well, just look at my picture, then you'll know what I mean. And with the mouth, I didn't really know what I was going to do there, but I didn't want to just keep it just teeth. And I had a look at some of the pictures of the grasshopper, and I had a look at the grasshopper's mouth, and I saw that the little grasshoppers have got these little, I don't know what you call them, but they look like little antenna things around their face, and I only presume that's to sort of like push food into their mouth when they're eating. And I put that into this werewolf bear cross. I put that into the mouth of this cross werewolf berry thing. The next step, which this part really did take me a bit to design, because I didn't know how I was going to do it, and that was the stomach area and the legs. So the stomach, I think I rubbed out about a lot. I rubbed it out so many times, sort of not understanding like myself and where I wanted to go with this, and I just drew it like a plate, and I really had to study the anatomy of a grasshopper to sort of understand how they were bent around and how they were looking. But I did try initially to have like a bended tail and have like the body sort of sticking out the back, and oh no, that was so bad. So I ended up scrapping that idea, and just went with like a plate, sort of like plate sort of stomach that just sort of stops at the bottom. And the legs really tried to sort of keep them the same as the grasshoppers, but I wanted to make them a little bit different, because it's going on a big heavy creature, so I wanted legs big enough and chunky enough to say cater for his weight. And that's how I designed these legs, really. And the markings on the legs were really, really hard. I didn't know what I was going to do with the markings, because I think I rubbed them out like a million times too, because I did start doing some of the designs I saw on the grasshopper legs, but nothing really looked right, and I just didn't really like any of it. So I ended up just going with what I thought. So the pattern on the legs are just something I've made up, and when I did finish them, I thought they looked very frog-like. And I was like really worried. I'm like, oh, do these look like frog legs? But then you sort of look at the spikes and the feet, and then you sort of go, okay, they don't really look like frog's legs, they look like grasshopper legs. Well, I'm hoping anyway. And then for me to add the colour in later, you'll see that I'm pretty sure I made them like a frog colour. So I was like, but I think it is obvious that they don't look like frogs' legs. So I'm happy about that. And also with the monster element that I wanted to add into this illustration, I decided to add a little bit more. So I tried to, you know, get my imagination going, and I don't know, I had this thing in my head that I'm like, no, you got to just stick to the animal. Don't add too much into it. You know, don't mix it up overly much. It's just, you just want the animal. And I don't know why I had that in my head, and I sort of had to shake that from my head and go, no, if I want to get across what I want to get across, I am going to add more elements. So, you know, stop putting this stereotype in your head, or whatever you're putting in your head. I don't even know what I was thinking. But anyway, I added the scratches across one eye to say that he's a monster. He's been in battle. He's been battling some, you know, some evilness out there. And then I decided to lift up the arm, because originally the arm was not in that position, and actually holding like a head of a human demon hybrid type thing, to portray that, you know, he is going around killing things. He is a monster. So that's where I come up with the head. Now the colours were another issue. The colours I had, honestly, I don't plan much, really. I honestly don't plan much. I just sit down. The only thing I really plan is the sketching side of things. Everything else I will just wing, and I will just sit down, and whatever I'm feeling at the time is pretty much what the colours are. This is just how I operate. I don't sit down and do thumbnails and then colour in the thumbnails. I just ain't nobody got time for that. So I just don't do it that way. And, you know, it's probably bad practice. It's probably, you know, I don't know, you probably think it's bad in some way, but it's just how I operate. I like to work that way. Yeah, I seem to figure it out most of the time, so I just keep doing it that way. So yeah, the colours, I knew I was going to keep the bare colours. And yeah, the grasshopper colours, I googled a few colours for grasshoppers, and I really did like that green and the yellow look. So that's when I incorporated that into the legs and the stomach, trying not to get too frog-like, but like I said, I don't think it looks too frog-like, which I am happy about. And I added the mane to look like a werewolf as well, as you can see on the back of the head area. Just a real thick, luscious mane, werewolfy mane. And the wings. I wasn't going to add wings, and then I realized that grasshoppers do have wings. And then I was like, oh, that's right. It was just one of those momentary lapses in, you know, forgetting what a certain insect has got on their body. So I added the wings and just had them just drooping down. I was thinking of having them either that or up, but I realized I didn't make enough room on the paper to do them up, so I could have done them smaller, but I just didn't want to. I wanted them like big, because this guy is heavy. He is a heavy, heavy monster. Would this creature roam at night? I would say, yeah, I would say that he would roam at night, and I would say that, you know, he would go crazy at the full moon as well, seeing that he does have, you know, that werewolf element to him. You know, maybe he goes on, you know, murderous sprees on a full moon because, you know, usually werewolves are human and they turn into the werewolves that become even more evil. But because he's already a bear werewolf grasshopper hybrid, maybe he just trips out even more on a full moon and goes absolutely mental and just starts killing things. I don't know. Just, you know, let your imaginations run away with you with this creature. And to think that this guy could leap, you know, huge amounts of like distances and fly. I think that if this thing did exist in modern life, I think we would all be screwed. 150% screwed, because I honestly don't think that you could get away from this creature. And, you know, bears and that are quite strong animals. So I don't even think that a house would even protect you from something like this. It's kind of scary to think. And with doing these monster mashups, as I've been designing this, I have been thinking about if this creature actually did exist. And if it did exist, like how screwed the human population would actually be, because these things are quite, you know, scary. And I'm kind of happy that these things only exist in our brains, because I could not deal. I wouldn't even be able to deal if this thing even existed, because I think that we would all probably be dead. and that's the truth, because look at it. It's scary, and you just got to see from like the human head that, like, when this guy is fully stood up, he would be taller than a normal human being. Plus he is like way bigger in every other way as well. And I couldn't, you know, have a monster picture without blood. So I added the blood across the eye where the scars and the scratches are, and put some little splatters here and there, and just, you know, smush it across with my finger, because that gives it like a smudge look, like he has already torn something to pieces and it's just smudged on his face. So I find that if you just put a little dab of the red paint down and you just get your fingers, as long as it's not too much, you just get a little dab and you just push your finger into it and then just pull it down, and it just has that effect that I just love. I love the effect that creates. So now I'm adding the blood to the head, which he's already had his eye gouged out. And if you can see there, I've tried to have it like the claws of the bear have gone into the face. I didn't really sort of capture that as best as I wanted to, but I tried, and yeah, you can kind of see that his claws are dug into the face and yeah, gone straight into the skin, and yeah. But this monster mashup was definitely by far the hardest one that I have done to date, because yeah, to put a bear and a grasshopper together as the main creatures was very hard. Yeah, it's definitely by far, this was definitely the hardest one I've done so far, but I loved the challenge, and I'm hoping, you know, I've pulled it off. I'm hoping that you guys like it. And because my fine-tipped white gel pen has died, I've got to use this really chunky Pentel one. I love it, but it's just leaving a little bit too thick a line. I can't get a lot of just fine white line details that I would prefer. But I can't complain, because this pen is juicy It is probably the best white gel pen I've ever owned, so I'm definitely going to be going and buying another one of these pens. But I'm just finishing up with the white gel pen, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you are enjoying the series so far, and I'm still waiting on people to show me what they're doing. If there's anyone out there, you know, as crazy as I am to do this, I would love to see what you guys create with these prompts, so send them my way. Please send them my way. I want to see them. It makes me excited to see what you guys do with certain things. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!